Support!
No! I don't know how much longer I can keep it in. I'm Ollie Davis, welcome to the WrestleTalk News. In just under a month, Judgment Day will be celebrating their first annual Judgment of Edge Day, with the 6th of June marking a year since they kicked their leader Edge out of the group to replace him with Finn Balor. It turned out to be a shrewd move, as in the 11 months since, the faction has gone from a group that, well, just loses all the time to Edge, to one of the most over acts in the company. Dominic Mysterio gets the most crowd heat of anyone in wrestling right now. Rhea Ripley has become a women's champion and was the #1 pick for Raw in the draft. Finn Balor, he's there. He's certainly still there, mostly losing in his Pin Balor gimmick. But Judgment Day's other faction mate now seems set for a major push. PW Insider is reporting that following Backlash on Saturday the 6th of May, Damien Priest is seen as one of the top-level players in the company going forward. He was trusted with the hugely important role of making Bad Bunny look good at the show's real main event, their Puerto Rican street fight. He exceeded expectations, further pushing WWE's product into the mainstream with Bad Bunny's legions of fans. Supporting this, Priest was heavily protected in the Raw qualifying three-way match for the World Heavyweight Championship tournament on the 8th of May episode, which Luke will have more on shortly. How would you push Priest as a top star on Raw? Let me know in the comments. And Priest isn't the only wrestler WWE is high on following the Premium Live event. They're also pretty tall on Amos. Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Following WWE creative team member Road Dogg saying Amos has more upside than Andre the Giant, PW Insider is also reporting that many in the company were very happy with his performance against Seth Rollins at Backlash, feeling it was one of the best major matches he's had. In terms of the Raw roster going forward, Worked Wrestling has also reported another act has been impressing behind the scenes. While they haven't wrestled on TV in months, the Maximum Male models have gotten a positive response backstage during house events, with those behind the scenes hoping that the team's character work picks up steam with the live crowds. And following NXT act The Way reuniting on last night's Raw of Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis, yep, that's definitely everyone I remember being in The Way. Worked Wrestling also claims Triple H and company have big plans for all of those involved. WWE and AEW are going to need all the help they can get over the next week, as they continue to face monster TV ratings competition with the NBA and NHL playoffs, particularly in the Lakers-Warriors series pulling in the highest figures since 2012. Despite being the post-draft and Backlash go-home show on Friday the 5th of May, with a big appearance from Bad Bunny, that episode of SmackDown was the lowest watched in months, dropping over 400,000 viewers, almost 20% from the previous week, to 2 million. AEW Rampage fared even worse, tying the show's second lowest rating of the year at 294,000 viewers, being bumped from its normal time slot because of the playoffs. The Wrestling Observer is reporting both WWE and AEW are loading up their shows to compete with the stiff competition. A huge change from the Vince-led days, which definitely aren't happening anymore, where they just used to half-arse shows they didn't think people would watch. This can be seen in Raw's lineup of the title tournament matches and Wednesday's insane Dynamite, which will see Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in a steel cage. Now hot tag to Luke Owen.
But first, we're travelling to Japan to hear about another potential Match of the Year candidate from our friend, grappling guru and Tesla driver, Mark Markuson. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
You're wearing glasses?
Indeed I am.
ISO drew went well?
It didn't work. This week's Match of the Year contender was an absolute marathon of a bout between Shingo Takagi and Tai Chi for the NJPW King of Pro Wrestling Championship. Taking place at New Japan's Satsuma no Kuni event on April the 29th, the two battled it out in a Takagi triad-style match, and we all know what that means.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
Why am I not surprised? It's a best-of-5 match. Each wrestler has to win 3 falls with any combination of a pin, submission, knockout, stoppage, or countout. Got it?
Sorry?
Good. Clocking in at over 43 minutes, this was a knockdown, drag-out brawl, and the two men used the concept of the match to deliver, in every sense of the word, an epic. They battered each other more than a tempura shrimp. Just a little joke for you there. It was the very definition of fight forever, and the visual of Takagi contorted in a submission for a minute and a half before passing out through the pain, it's just set Taichi up as an absolute monster. It's what wrestling's all about, Luke.
Oh, it sounds fabulous, Mark. So, 5 out of 5?
Please, Luke, a match like this, 5 isn't enough. It's a 6-star match.
6.
6.
Out of 5.
Of 5.
Thank you, Mark. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'll see you then.
Yeah, see you next week.
Just gonna skip at you.
Yeah, fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good chat.
Yeah, see you next week. 6, eh? Ooh, 6. Raw. And now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka boy, this crowd sure was a come down after Puerto Rico wasn't an edition of Monday Night Raw. In about 5 minutes, start that timer! The show opened with Cody Rhodes coming out to introduce us to the big story of tonight's show. The mini tournament for the Raw side of the brackets for the Raw exclusive World Heavyweight Championship that also has SmackDown stars fighting for it, consolation prize because Roman doesn't work all the time title. He was in his gear, so one would presume his triple threat with The Miz and Finn Balor was kicking off the show, but then Seth Rollins came out, and after a couple of video packages and a backstage interview, it's revealed that his triple threat with Damien Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura was actually starting things off. And according to Fightful Select, the reason this pacing and staging was so weird is because Cody's triple threat was supposed to open the show, but was changed at the last minute. Sound familiar? Pacing and structure issues aside, this match was awesome. Priest was made to look superb fighting with just one working leg, while Nakamura was given time to shine and run wild on both men. But really, this was all for Rollins, who won with the pedigree on Nakamura for the win. A predictable winner for sure, but also the right one. Imperium, minus Walter, who was on his honeymoon, made a match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for later in the night, and free agent Mustafa Ali beat Otis in a short match where Otis was distracted by both Maxine and Chad Gable, who were telling him to do different things. This was brilliantly done, with the crowd booing Maxine and cheering Chad, which was a lot of fun. We then got Cody's triple threat, which he had all sewn up by hitting 3 crossroads on The Miz, who earned his spot in this tournament by Check's notes, losing to Snoop Dogg at WrestleMania, but then Brock Lesnar appeared at ringside and pulled Cody out of the ring, allowing Finn Balor to hit the coup de grace for the win. Brock then gave Cody an F5 through the announcer table and cut a promo that was really heard by WWE piping in their hairdryer fake crowd noise. It was a fun and intense Brock, but hard to be taken seriously. He challenged Cody to a rematch at Night of Champions, which Cody accepted later in the show. Well, that's a big win for Seth to set him up for the new title, a big-time rematch for Cody. I sure hope this new era of Raw has big plans for Rhea Ripley. Oh. Rhea Ripley quickly squashed Dana Brooke, who was left hanging for a high five at ringside by a young child, absolute lol, and was then confronted by her next big challenger for the SmackDown Women's Championship here on Raw. Could it be a call-up like Zoe Stark or Katana Chance, a returning name like Alexa Bliss, a new face like Piper Niven, Emma, Candice LeRae, or Shayna Baszler? No, it was Natalya. And apparently the piped-in hairdryer crowd reaction is reserved for Brock Lesnar alone because they let Natty sink in a sea of apathy from this Jacksonville crowd. Nothing against Natty, and a filler feud is fine and all, but Ripley's just had one of those with Zelina Vega, so I think she needs something bigger than the boat. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens beat Imperium in a very fun tag match that showcased both teams, and Zoe Stark made her Raw debut by beating Nikki Cross. There wasn't a lot of heat, but the action was decent, and Stark won with the Z360, or as we call it in the UK, the Z360. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville were asking wrestlers to sign their petition for a match against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, which will happen next Monday, and it also gave room for the Raw debut of Indy Hartwell, who is now back with the Way, and they set up Tommaso Ciampa, possibly also joining the faction. Trish Stratus came out for a promo to make fun of Becky Lynch being missing from Raw and tease the crowd by having the production team play Becky's music to make them think the man was coming back around. She made fun of Becky's kids some more, and then Lynch's music played again. Trish told the production team that the joke was over, but it was an actual Becky return who laid out Trish. Presumably the match will happen at Night of Champions, and this segment was superb. Dom Mysterio beat Xavier Woods at a short and remarkably heatless match given who was in the ring. Jinder Mahal cut a promo for Indus Sher, and Nakamura made a match for him and The Miz next week because no one can escape the Mizcard Vortex. And the main event saw Seth Rollins beat Finn Balor in a rematch of the first Universal Championship match, which was a nice touch. And speaking of nice touches, Balor gave Rollins the barrier bomb that injured Finn that forced him to relinquish the title. It also gave Rollins the comeback story of the match, overcoming the odds to hit the stomp for the win. An excellent main event this was. was. And this will sound harsh, and I don't mean it as such. This was a formulaic episode of Raw. It gave us a nice, predictable, and correct winner of the Raw side of the bracket. It gave us a return in Becky Lynch. It introduced the NXT call-ups in either matches, backstage segments, or videos, and we got a surprise appearance from Brock Lesnar to set up his contractual Saudi Arabia match. It was all by-the-book stuff, but it were dead good. The action were good too. This week's Raw is 4 out of 5. Barry bombed an injured Finn, and the main event saw Seth Rollins beat Finn Balor in a rematch of their first Universal Championship match, which was a lovely touch. And speaking of nice touches, Rollins